Here's a few news stories that I thought were interesting. So, Kroger, let's see if I get punched through all the stupid ads and garbage. Boy, there sure are a lot of them. Anyway, Kroger has got a plan to stop theft. It turns out the retailers are suffering a lot of organized theft, and apparently they're also worried about casual theft. So what they're going to do is force more people to use self-checkout, and they're going to put cameras monitoring what you do at the self-checkout, and they're going to have AI monitoring the cameras to try to detect if you're doing suspicious things that make it look like you're slipping things in your bag without paying for them. And then they'll have humans come up and inspect your bag if the AI flags you as suspicious. So that will be interesting to see how that works out. Considering the flaws in AI, we can expect some scandals as innocent people are flagged and such. So we'll see how it goes. If I was in charge of Kroger, I would make sure that the staff was trained very carefully to be very polite to the customers and about this in case it's a false positive. All right. And I saved a link, and I thought it was a link that would get past the paywall, but somehow it doesn't seem to be. Anyway, whenever I play the news in a different browser, I hit all these stupid paywalls. Anyway, the Washington Post checked with Alexa, and if you ask them what happened in the 2020 election, they tell you misinformation copied from Rumble. So apparently Alexa, as an AI, was trained on Rumble, which is an alt-right site full of lies. And when they complained, saying that it's 3 years after this and it's still telling terrible lies, and there's another election coming up, why is Alexa still spreading election disinformation? Amazon said, oh, we fix it. That won't happen. That only happened to a small number of people. It doesn't matter. And then mysteriously those questions, now it says, I can't answer that question, but they say all you have to do is modify the question. It'll still tell you the same lie. So this appears that Alexa appears to have been trained on alt-right disinformation, which is true of most of these large language models, by the way. And they just weren't careful enough in choosing the data set. So that's interesting. And let me see if I can find the other one that goes with it, which is this is the one. This is very interesting. Because if you do train your AI on models, and then you wish you had not used some of that data, for example, because you used Rumble and it's alt-right disinformation, or because you used copyrighted material and the copyright holder says, you can't use my stuff, take it out of your AI, there has been no technology available to remove information from the AI. But Mark Russinovich, a Microsoft employee now of fame from running Azure and from developing the tech-internals suite of products, which are excellent for understanding what happens with Windows software and malware, has written a paper with Ronan Eldon, and they have a way to do this. They claim they have figured out a way to erase data from an LLM, and they took an LLM and they managed to erase all knowledge of the existence of Harry Potter's books from it. So the model took 184,000 GPU hours to pre-train, but in 1 GPU hour of fine-tuning, they can erase its ability to generate or recall Harry Potter-related content. So that is amazing. I haven't heard of anybody do anything close to this. The video is really choppy. Yes, I wondered about that, but I don't know if I can do anything about it here. I got a green light, so it says I have plenty of bandwidth. You know, I wonder if it's this fan. I'm running some fans because it's been hot, but it might be cool enough to do without them for a while. Let's see if they're causing a problem. Anyway, good. Anyway, I still seen it jitter here for me too, so I don't know what's causing it, but this home theater stuff is pretty baffling. Anyway, so this does sound amazing, and they say there's a 3-part technique. First, they train the model on the target data to identify the tokens related to it. Then they replace the unique Harry Potter expressions with generic counterparts. Then they fine-tune the baseline model on these alternative predictions, effectively erasing the original text from its memory. So this sounds amazing. They're somehow able to train a model, and then I guess they identify what parts of the neurons are related to that. They're somehow able to readjust the neurons in the AI back to the condition as if it hadn't been exposed to Harry Potter. So it sounds wonderful. This, like I say, this is miraculous. I've read many news reports saying that this is impossible, and yet we really need this ability, how to remove bad data from an AI. So sounds very promising. And here's another one. There's these AIs that will make pictures from your description of a picture. So they asked it to create black doctors treating white kids, and all the AIs refuse to do this at all. They can't imagine such a thing. They are so they've adapted so much to bigotry that they keep making the doctors white and the kids black, even when you ask for something else. So this is something we've heard a lot. AIs are trained on data sets, and they learn prejudices. All right, let's see if there's any way to punch through all the stupid ads. Ah, yes. So somebody finally, Dish got fined for space debris. And now they're passing a rule. The Federal Communications Commission issued a fine of $150,000, and they say it's a big deal. And they want to pass a rule that everybody has to remove your satellite from orbit 5 years after its end of life, which would be awesome because the space junk is so bad it's very hard to launch things. Another nation, I think Japan, just had to delay the launch of their rocket to avoid hitting all the space junk. And we are very close to the Kessler syndrome, which is the name for when the space junk hits the other space junk and it magnifies like crazy to where you can't use space anymore because there's so much junk flying around. So we really do need to do something about space junk. Let's see what else. 23andMe got hacked, or to be fair, 23andMe data was stolen, although they claim it was done by credential stuffing. Now, credential stuffing is something that you can reasonably claim is not your fault, although maybe you should. But the point is, if you have a website and you let people log in with just a password and don't force them to use two-factor authentication, then they might reuse that password somewhere else, and that other place might get hacked. And so if you just take databases of dumped passwords and try using them other places, you can often get into accounts. So they claim that's what was used, and they've got a bunch of data, and I guess to get attention, they offered to sell you the Jewish users. This is the kind of thing that I've been expecting ever since Donald Trump came down the escalator. America's moving very much towards fascism and Nazism. I think Trump just last week said that he wanted to execute shoplifters on the way out of the store, so we won't bother with a trial like Duterte. And he also said that we have to stop the immigrants because they're polluting the blood of Americans, which is very much a racist eugenics thing to do. And Trump's totally been in bed with the Nazis all along. They've been part of his base. And this is the kind of scary stuff that I'm waiting for in America, when they're really going to come for the Jews. And obviously, they use the stolen genetic data to find people who are 1% or more Jewish, and they're selling that data, assuming that there is somebody who would like to have a list of Jews to hunt down, which I'm afraid there are a lot of people in America now that would like to find Jews and hunt them down. So someone might buy this data. Anyway, it's scary stuff. This is why I never got my genetic data scanned by this, and I've told everybody to listen to me not to do it, because it endangers you and it endangers all your relatives. And this is exactly what you worry about. When some kind of racist pogrom comes out, they will track you down and try to punish you based on your genetics. And this is very much where we're headed. So anyway, if you haven't had your genetic code sequenced, don't do it. At least not in any of these big reservoirs online, because they're not careful with it. They don't get hacked. And by the way, there is nothing to make me doubt that if you had another Republican administration, the government would demand that data in order to hunt down people and punish them for their race. So you might not even need to get hacked for this to come back on you. Anyway, I want to stop the news.